What's up, everyone? It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome to my 2021 Elimination Chamber predictions video. I am excited for one because I have a very special guest with me here today. Kind of a new friend, but here we go. We have Wrestling Observer's very own Mike Sempervive. What's up, Mike?
What's happening, Denise? I'd like to thank you for having me on the show. I know in your email that you sent to me, you made it clear to point out that you were looking for the over 50 NXT demographic, and I'm creeping closer and closer to it. Not as close as Bryan Alvarez. He's still got about 6 months on me, so he'll always be first. But I'm glad I'm able to bring up the median age a little bit.
You know, that makes me very happy because I invite viewers of all age. So thank you so much. You're helping me get that older demo. I'll take it.
I'm trying.
No, but seriously, Mike, I want to thank you because I feel like you were one of the first people that, when I got brought on to the team, you were one of the first people that were like, hey, like, what's up? Like, this is, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I have friends. And it was just very exciting. Just to get to know everybody. And I think you were one of the first people that, reached out and was like, hey,
this isn't easy, and it's pretty cutthroat because, for all of the sites that are out there and all those sorts of things, there's few places where you have a lot of visibility. And knock on wood, I've been very lucky. When I first started doing things, it was way back in 2002, and it was weekly TNA pay-per-view reviews for the Pro Wrestling Torch. So, I started off with, somewhere that was a known thing anyway, and then I ended up, down the line joining Wrestling Observer. Well, it was the F4W site then. Dave wasn't even a part of it. So, that took off really quickly for Bryan, obviously, and then when Dave came over, it absolutely blew up, and, Dave sidestepped to go to Yahoo, or I can't remember exactly what the deal was of why he gave up Wrestling Observer Live, but I was able to slide in there, and it's nice. And any chance I had to go on somebody else's podcast to try to help them out or to try to do something, it's what you should do. And with everybody trying to cutthroat each other because they want clicks and they want hits and they want views and all that sort of stuff, I get it. But it's like, the best way to go about this is the way that you're doing it, which is put yourself out there as much as you possibly can and work really hard and try to get better every single day at what you do. And at some point, those doors are going to open. And when those doors open, it would be nice if people are welcoming to you, because I know what it's like to try to, be into situations where it's like, you join the team and they're not trying to have you on the team, or they're so worried about their own thing that they're not sweating yours. And the reality is, if one of us succeeds, then we're all going to succeed. At least it brings up the visibility for everybody. So it's nice of you to say that. Thank you very much. And, again, it's just one of those things that's just very easy to pass on. Try to be nice about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think you nailed it there, because really for me, when I got this job, when I got to put my own show on F4W, I just felt like it was this really big validation of everything that I had been doing. So it's just very nice to be brought onto the team. And now look at us now, flash forward a couple months later and we're doing a show here on my channel. Like Sempervive, I've been listening to you for quite some while, on the radio. So to kind of have you on here is really awesome. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to jump in. We're going to talk about all of the matches that have already been announced for Elimination Chamber, share our predictions, what we think is going to happen, how we feel about the storylines that have taken place. And then also I want to let everybody know on the stream here that I have a very special segment planned that, Mike, you don't even know about. I haven't even told you about it, but we have a very special segment planned for after the chamber. So after we're done talking about our Elimination Chamber predictions, we're going to hop into that very special segment that I can't wait to do. But here we go. Mike, let's kick things off with one of the first matches that we have on here. Let's talk about the United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle in a triple threat match. Also, for all the people watching live, please make sure to send in your thoughts on how you guys feel about who you think is going to win, etc. So, Mike, my first question for you is, in terms of these three guys, how do you feel with what they've been doing, their presentation of all three of these guys on Raw each and every single week?
Well, let's start with the top. Bobby Lashley. You could not book anybody any stronger than how they've booked Bobby Lashley, unless it is Drew McIntyre. I think what they've done with Bobby Lashley is tremendous. I think whoever is, working with him or is an ally for him and has kept him pretty pure over the last couple of years now, there was that deal with Lana and everything, but that was, Paul Heyman came in and that was almost a transition to get Bobby Lashley where he wanted him to be, and Rusev obviously out, they were shuffling him out. So in hindsight, there was a reason that they did that, and it made for wacky TV. And it's like, okay, but Paul Heyman was setting up other cards at that time, if I'm remembering that correctly. But the bottom line is Bobby Lashley's been super strong. You go down one step, then you got Keith Lee. A lot of missteps with Keith Lee, one could argue, and Vince, is he really sold on him or not? He sent him down with those other guys to like big guy camp at NXT at the Performance Center, whatever it was. And, it seems like, there's something there, maybe still, but, we got to see them get fully behind him, before I'm really sold on what his prospects are going to be. Regardless of what you think about his prospects right now, they're still better than how they've treated Matt Riddle, who has been, forget about a Riddle, you could say he's been a joke. And I don't want to go that far, but when they peg a guy as being a goofy guy and they peg him for what he is, right now it hasn't been very impressive. He tapped out to Bobby Lashley visually already at a time where the match was already over. He has been thrown around nonstop. What could that mean? We can discuss what we think the match, will end up happening in the match, but he's looked terrible. And I don't know if they've really got a grasp on what to really do with him if they want him to be something more than he is. If they want him to be at a Randy Orton level, if they want him to be at a superstar level, they're certainly not going about it, in my opinion, right now in the correct way. And I just don't know if they have a real handle on if he's going to be a star, how they get him there. And maybe they don't want him to be a star. And again, maybe they haven't pegged as this forever. And if that's the case, it's too bad, because I think it's a little bit of a waste to have a guy with that kind of charisma, with that kind of credibility in real life and that kind of following coming into the company. He's not exactly Rob Van Dam, but there are Rob Van Dam-ish qualities to me where it's like, you got to embrace this guy for what it is and kind of work around him, as opposed to, shoving this square peg into a round hole.
I like how you described that. But here's the thing. I agree with you in the sense of all these three guys. Bobby Lashley has been booked the best. But I will add to this, though. I think every single week, I was, one of the things that I've been saying on our Raw post-show review is that I'm so over they do the same thing, though, each and every single week with Bobby Lashley. Like, yes, he's been booked strong, especially out of these three guys. But I don't necessarily think they've added so much of depth to him. Like, that's it. Like, he comes out, he gets, these moments over and all of that, but there isn't anything much more. For me, it's been feeling sort of repetitive with Bobby Lashley. Now, Keith Lee, we already know that, everybody thought, oh my God, he's moving into the main roster. He gets this pin over Randy Orton. And we're all thinking the guy is going to be, in the main event picture. And for a while, we sort of started seeing things, but then it kind of just went downhill after that. They just did so much that it felt like it wasn't really clicking with Keith Lee, which is unfortunate because, again, I think a lot of us know that there's a lot of potential there. And then with Matt Riddle, in terms of the in-ring stuff, he's been having some phenomenal matches, but everything that they do outside of that has made you, like, I can't imagine someone saying they're rooting for Matt Riddle in this match because they haven't necessarily given you a reason to want to root for Matt Riddle in this match. So before we get into who we think is actually going to win, we do have a super chat from Jobber JJ. Thank you so much to Jobber JJ, who says, Randy is in a pod, Alexa comes out and sets it on fire, and Fiend pops up and Randy is trapped in the funhouse to set up their match for Mania. That is very creative. What do you think about this, Mike?
I say, I don't know if you want to save this one for later, but yeah. I can absolutely, positively see that happening. Of course, he's in there. I mean, I'm trying to think, was it the last Boy Scout where Halle Berry was in the, this is going back a long way here with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis, where I think it was, she was in a toll booth and they lit it on fire, something like that, where it's like, this has been a trope. Is that what you call it in movies? I can absolutely see something like that happening because it's hard to believe at WrestleMania we're not going to get Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton in some sort of wacky match, and everything else has been wacky around this. And also, the other key part is something can happen to Randy that won't affect anybody else, and a referee will keep counting, a match will continue on, all of this sort of stuff. This is what happens, and There's really no ever like true explanation for what is happening to everybody else at this time. It's just you're into this weird thing, this weird realm that Randy Orton goes into. So I can absolutely see something like that happening. In fact, I would bet something like that is absolutely going to happen.
We have a comment from Brian Rose who's in here and says, well, Denise and Semp, what a duo. We're here to brighten up your day.
I came to pretty things up.
We're actually getting plenty of super chats. So I'm going to go ahead and read these before, and then we'll go ahead and give in our actually, you know what? Before we get to that, Mike, so in terms, we were talking about Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle in this triple threat match. Who are you going for here in terms of who's winning?
Look, I am way in the tank for Bobby Lashley, and I also look at Bobby Lashley as a guy with MVP. Look, Bobby Lashley did some good talking in Impact. Like, I think that was some of his best promo work there and everything, but like, they're not going to do that in WWE, so I think MVP is a good person to have with him, and it's my heart and my head. Like any good gambler, you can't go with your heart, you got to go with your head, because my heart is Bobby Lashley wins this match, goes on, continues to have the belt, and marches on to WrestleMania, and he's the guy that wrestles Drew McIntyre. What is more likely is that if Keith Lee, because that's a big question, if Keith Lee is in this match and he's not out of it with COVID or something like that, you could have a scenario where Keith Lee defeats Matt Riddle, and he wins the title. Bobby Lashley remains. He's got an excuse as to why he didn't win. It's kind of on the cheap side for Keith Lee, but you can always, continue to keep him strong and keep that title strong if you want to, and it splits him away. What is more likely the case, and if you had a gun to my head and I had to put money on it, is oftentimes WWE will embarrass the hell out of somebody or do this sort of thing where they lose all the time and they're kind of banana peeling in the butt of jokes, and then they win the title and they look at this as like, wow, what a redemption story. Then that person, of course, usually doesn't have any steam on them because of how you've treated them. And then they go, well, it doesn't work. It's this big, 360 self-fulfilling, loop prophecy that they have sometimes. So I hate to say it. I would rather see Bobby Lashley come out of this, untouched and unscathed. But I have a feeling with the way they've treated him, Matt Riddle's going to end up winning this match. And I think that goes up, those chances go up a lot, in my opinion, if Keith Lee's not going to be in there.
Yeah, and I actually like the scenario that you painted with Keith Lee winning instead. I think I would have preferred something like that, but I really do think that I have a feeling they're just going to keep it on Bobby Lashley. I don't feel like there's going to be a title change. If there is, okay, great. I hope that it works out for the best, but I almost feel like they're definitely going to keep it on Bobby Lashley. But I almost feel like I don't think I'm very expecting very many title changes for Elimination Chamber, but who knows?
Well, let me ask you this. To try to get somebody like you back or into Bobby Lashley's fold a little bit, say he goes ahead and wins, or even if he doesn't, who is somebody that you would match up with Bobby Lashley off the top of your head that you would think would be somebody that can bring out the dynamics of Bobby Lashley? Because on paper, to me, it's like it's Matt Riddle because of the amateur experience. There's so many things you could do if you wanted to, but it's like, I'm just like you. I'm sick of this. I kind of want it to end, and I want people to move on to different things. And, I think about what comes next for Lashley. I'd like it to be McIntyre, but then it's like, okay, who can he really be in there and have some really good stuff with on that roster?
AJ Styles. He's the guy in terms, he's really the answer for like anybody if you were to say,
true.
Put him up so that he could look good in terms of having Bobby Lashley look good. Because, one of the things that they've obviously been pushing is that he's a big guy. He's a big, tough guy, whatever, right? He can kill anybody. So having somebody like AJ Styles, who we all know can do those matches, very, very well, can make the big guys, look fantastic. He's going to sell like crazy, bump like crazy. I do think that a program with him would be good, but I also don't see it happening though right now. And I would like to see if they were having the audience, if they treated Matt Riddle with a little bit more of respect and dignity. I would like it to be Matt Riddle because of the in-ring work that he's been doing, I feel like it would be a really good match. Right? But it just doesn't feel like that right now.
It shows you how bad they need baby faces on both sides of the ledger. I thought this was a good time for Seth Rollins to come back as one, and it's disappointing. Now, AJ Styles, though, with as much goofiness as he's been doing in comedy and things like that, that would be a great, if you flipped him babyface and have Almost there as his heater with Bobby Lashley as the guy that okay, Lashley can outpower everybody else. He might be able to get one over. The Hurt Business might, but you got a guy in Almost that can be AJ Styles' brick wall for all those other guys. And I think there's things, if you wanted to later on, you could spin off. So, God, if they turn AJ Styles babyface, that would be perfect.
And we have some super chats. We have one from Eddie K. Thank you so much to Eddie, who says, "Sup, guys, I'll be in the Thunderdome for this pay-per-view."
Sup, Eddie?
I haven't been in the Thunderdome for anything yet. I'm surprised, actually.
I can't do it. You couldn't pay me enough to do that one. I'm sorry. Like jury duty.
We have a super chat from Throwback 27 who says, "Could there be a possibility of WWE repeating history, putting some type of projection like the Worms and into Alexa's laughing and having her mouth open and having Bray take Randy down through the ring?" Oh man, I'm not into all of these little, I don't know, cinematic, whatever you want to call it, type of stuff. What about you, Mike?
That's something I think, that level of thing you save until WrestleMania in the cinematic presentation, because one of those things, if you had a gun to my head, said, what are they going to do at Mania? It's going to be a cinematic presentation. Like, was it 2017 they did the deal at Mania where they faced off and they had the insects and they did the Nine Inch Nails thing with bugs crawling on the canvas and everything? And I just think they're going to take that. They're going to take what they've done with the Firefly Funhouse and Randy burning down the house and all that sort of stuff, and it is all going to be terrible. It is going to be all of it. This is you're getting WrestleMania. You might get 2 days of it. It's going to be it is going to be so masturbatory for everybody involved, and God bless them, good for them, because if you're going to do this, much like John Cena last year and Bray Wyatt, I'm one of those people, everybody knows from Observer Live, Bryan hated it. I liked it. For what it was, I liked it. Now, I didn't see it coming, which is one of the reasons I liked it. And it was just so wacky and out there. I thought it was great. With this, maybe I'm not as much. I mean, they really, after all of this, you better dazzle me with something, because I have put up with a lot with this. I don't want magic in my wrestling. I'm old. There are some things that I think there needs to be a dividing line, but it's like, I'm also on board. Look, if you're going to do it, impress me. I'm here to be impressed.
You're like, if they're going to razzle dazzle me, you might as well do it in a genius and mature way.
Yeah, well, even if it's not mature, just make it good. Just as Dusty Rhodes said when he was tied up to that thing getting beat up by the Horsemen, just make it good. Make it just incredibly ridiculous.
We have another super chat from Throwback 27 who says, Lashley said he wouldn't mind being in a fight pit with Riddle. Like, that'd be sick at Mania. Would that be something you'd be interested in seeing?
If Riddle wins and they're serious, and a lot of the nonsense stops, you can still have him say some goofy things without being such a goofball. The in-ring work is there. As you said, that's the one thing with a lot of WWE. We worry about what the finishes are going to be. It's like when it comes to the pay-per-views, it's like, okay, there's been a lot of bad story here in some cases, and we know the finish. They might do something stupid because they want to do something on Monday night. But the matches themselves are usually awesome because the talent they have is incredible. And even if the match layouts aren't perfect, Riddle has been awesome, in there. And he doesn't mind getting hit. There's a wild shot here and there. And that's one of the other things I like about him is it doesn't look choreographed sometimes. There are wild shots being, thrown out there and knees and fists. And it's great. I love that. And if they're serious about doing that, I think that would be so sweet. Even if Lashley came out of this with Lee screwing Riddle or something like that, and you wanted to do something at Fastlane to build to this thing, yes, if you're going to spend 8 weeks and be serious about Matt Riddle and rebuild him into a bigger monster, all for it. I would be all for that because that would be great. It would be something unique to have on Mania where you are going to get a potpourri over 2 days of a lot of wild stuff.
I agree. And it would add, something different to it. Having the fight pit at WrestleMania, I think would only make it feel that much more grander. And again, they do got to fill up those 2 nights. And I do agree. If they gave the, more of that to Riddle, more respect, I think it would work out very, very, very well. So let's go ahead and move on to this next match because we sort of kind of have this match was announced, but after everything that transpired on last week's Raw, we sort of look like we're going to have a replacement. So Raw Women's Champion Asuka was originally set to defend against Lacey Evans. Now, they haven't, as of this moment that we're doing this stream, announced anybody's replacement for Lacey Evans. Now, given that, it was reported that Lacey Evans was pregnant, I think we can assume that she's not going to be in this match. So, Mike, who do you think is going to be the replacement? And if so, who do you think would be walking out as Raw Women's Champion?
I don't. Sometimes women are different as far as when they find out they're pregnant. Let's just say she's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Let's just say she's 2 months in. Now that she feels comfortable, and now see 2 or 3 months in. I just want to know which pay-per-view is 6 months from now, so we can have that Lauren Lakes paternity court that I really, really want with Charlotte and Ric Flair there. I really, really want that to happen. I love daytime judge shows. Perfect for me. Realistically, though, Rhea Ripley, we're all wondering where she is. To me, this is tailor-made. If they don't put Rhea Ripley in this match, I think they're idiots, and here's why. Rhea Ripley against Asuka is a great match. You've been looking for a spot to bring Rhea Ripley up in. One just cracked open for you. Perfect.
It fell in their lap. Really, it did.
Yes, and this is what you do. In my opinion, this is what you do. It's so simple. Rhea against Asuka. Rhea wins. It's a surprise. You bring somebody up. It's always a tradition anyway. A lot of times you have a surprise. You have a replacement. They win the title or they win the match. Perfect scenario to do that. Asuka wasn't ready for Rhea. Let's say you play off of those words, Asuka's own words. Well, guess what? Fastlane, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again in the pay-per-view before Mania. Asuka, you got your rematch. You keep Rhea strong in that whole time. You have the vignettes. You do all that sort of stuff. You reintroduce her to people. You remember why she was a badass in the first place. Forget about that, oh, I'm so honored to face Charlotte crap. No, that's gone. You shouldn't have did that in the first place, but now she's already said all that stuff. Now she's coming back to kick ass and revenge. She beats Asuka again. Then you do Asuka and Charlotte again at WrestleMania. In my opinion, you have Rhea win. That way it's 1-1. You have something to play off of down the line. Charlotte doesn't need the victory anyway, but she does need a match at WrestleMania. And this is better because Rhea and Charlotte work far better than Lacey and Charlotte have. So to me, this is like one of those, it's so simple. I don't see why you would do it any other way. And I don't see what you would do to who you would bring up. Even if it would be Raquel or something like that, it just doesn't jive with me. I think this is the way I would do it.
And I agree with you. It has to be Rhea Ripley. I mean, especially after, come on, it wasn't like she was like the bottom, she was the final two in the Royal Rumble with Bianca. Like, there has to be some sort of follow-up to that. Yes. And I mean, obviously there's gonna be. My concern though is that because we've seen this happen in WWE a lot, where it's like, if it's not their moment yet, they sort of don't put you out there yet because, oh, it's not your moment yet. And we saw that happen with Bianca Belair. And part of me fears that is what's going to happen with Rhea Ripley. But considering, like we just said, after this announcement with Lacey Evans, this opportunity came at them at the right time. And I was going along the same lines as you, where I thought, okay, if Rhea Ripley is going to be the replacement, let's have her come in, have her win. Obviously, that's just the right call to make. And then afterwards, they can do the rematch at Fastlane, whatever. But I actually just want to keep her strong. And I would like her to defend the title against Charlotte at WrestleMania to get that win back. That, she and then, again, like you said, it doesn't have to be like, oh, it's an honor to face you, Charlotte. No, it could be like, hey, you think you can get one over on me? No, like, I'm this new Rhea Ripley or whatever. She can work whatever promo she wants, but you basically say, I'm not afraid to challenge you, and I want to prove to the world that I can beat Charlotte Flair. And I just think that would be a really good, just give her a lot to just put her up as champion and revive that Raw Women's title, because the Raw Women's Championship right now is practically meaningless, which is very, very upsetting to say. And I don't like saying it, but that's how it's been treated as of late with, in the recent months with Asuka as champion.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And it's just, they waited a long time on bringing Naomi. She was the third pick in the draft on Raw way back when they did that, and then she was not on. And I can't remember all the reasons as to why, if it was just because of Jay or Jay, right? Yeah, Jay or whatever exactly it was. But they waited. Then they put her in the team with Lana. If she hadn't come back, I think that would have been the perfect position to kind of bring her back in or something like that. But there's nobody else that's there that's ready. Peyton Royce is not there. She's not ready. You go down the list of names and it's just, the priorities.
Challengers.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. What are you going to do, Dana Brooke? Who else would you going to bring in? Santana Garrett? There's people that they could bring in and have a one-off really good match with Asuka, but it's like, because Asuka can work with anybody. But to me, it's just like, it's slapping you right in the face. And again, you need stars. You need stars of every gender, every ethnicity, you just need stars. And Rhea Ripley is a star. And the other thing you can do with Rhea is you play off the fact that there are so many people even though this is tailor-made for how we're talking about, the Rhea gets the victory, and oftentimes when it comes to Mania, they usually give the right person the victory. Obviously, last year, people can argue that it wasn't, but that was Charlotte's moment. As you mentioned, sometimes they have moments planned out. That was going to be Charlotte's moment, but to me, it's just, this is just too perfect for you to do, and there are so many people that hate Charlotte, or they're worked into really not liking Charlotte.
Right.
Where they're going to believe no matter what you could, show them. Vince McMahon could give them a certified letter saying Rhea Ripley is going to win at WrestleMania. They will still say, BS, that ain't going to happen. Did Jerry McDevitt sign that? Whatever they're going to say, they are going to convince themselves that Charlotte's going to win. And whether she does or not, it's a different story. But you're going to have people naturally who are going to be on Rhea's side because they just don't like Charlotte. So it's just like the Roman Reigns thing and other people. It's just one of those things that you're going to get some of that, and some of it is deserved. And, however you want to feel about the character and how they carry themselves, regardless, there are real life things here that you want to play off of. So, again, to me, the whole thing is just, it's perfectly packaged with a nice bow on it.
So I think, we have this whole concept and idea of the direction we'd like to head into. But Brandon Charles Powell, by the way, thank you for the super chat, says, I will lose my mind for all the wrong reasons if Alexa Bliss shows up as Asuka's opponent. Do you think they could go that direction? We talk about saving moments. What if they just do just that?
They could. If you're going to do that, then you might as well have Randy disappear into the ether, and the Fiend just shows up and he wins the title. To me, Alexa. Here's the great. I say this on Wrestling Observer Live a lot, and it's not that I'm trying to qualify anything, but it's like a lot of what they're doing with all of this with Alexa and the Fiend and Randy Orton. Alexa and Randy Orton have been incredible. I think they're. I'm not, any sort of thespian or expert, but I think what Alexa has done has been great. Randy can take anything, make it his own, and it's Randy Orton in the moment. And I think he's done a great job with what he's been given. I think Alexa, with all the aesthetics they do, I don't like it. I don't really like it as part of my wrestling, but I can't say that it's not fantastic. But because of all that, Alexa doesn't need that title. What are you going to do? She was already dumped on her ass by Rhea Ripley. So unless you're going to do something where you're building towards Alexa and Rhea Ripley, when you've got Alexa tied in with the Fiend, I don't want to see Rhea tied in with Magic. And I don't want to see Alexa play dual-dimensional characters. I only want to see that in matches with her that obviously with Asuka, I hated that, but it related to the Fiend stuff. So I get it. I don't like it. I didn't appreciate it, but I get it. I don't want that. I just want her to be
very well. It wouldn't be something that mixes. Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be done. You don't need her in alternate universes. You just don't need that. It's like when Adam Pearce and they were doing that thing where he walked into the Funhouse. I get it, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of funny. It was amusing. Funny. Yeah, it was amusing, and it's like, okay, once, but it's like, I don't want to see this where you open the door and now we're in Magic Land. It's like, if we're going to do that, I want full Lucha Underground. Take it where wrestling is the backdrop, because that was always the thing with Lucha Underground. The big difference between what they're doing now, and what Lucha Underground did was, you knew that this was all the fight takes place in the ring, and we're going to solve all our battles here, but all of this other stuff is swirling around, and they made it clear that all of this is more important than that. That will matter as far as the story goes. We need to have a winner and a loser. We need to have a protagonist and an antagonist face off against each other. But it was all this other stuff that matters. If they want to go in that direction, great. But to me, you can't half-ass it. You cannot have it multiple ways, because look at the announcers. What's going on? It's like, look what happened. No, what happened? You're right there. What happened? Or what are you seeing right now? Because there's fire and this happened. What's happening?
And no one was reacting the way you would normally think someone would be reacting to that.
And let me get this out of the way, because all my Xfinity went foobar on me this week, and I couldn't say this on Observer Live. Do you know how ridiculous it is to have that scene with Alexa, and she's sitting inside of a pentagram, and they fade to black? And then you're waiting for a commercial, but no, we come back up with Lana's horns. And it was just it just I won't embarrass myself by, trying to do the music to it, but it was like, why? Like, what? It just, to me, it's like you deflate the balloon that way. It was that's WCW to me, where it's like, here's Alexa sitting in a pentagram with fire around her on USA, looking crazy. And then we got Lana's horns, and she bounces out to the ring, and it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too old.
I actually felt that way, but when Braun Strowman came back and he has that backstage segment with Pierce, and he basically tells him like, "Oh, if I don't get this match or whatever, things are gonna start getting crazy around here." And I'm like, "Bro, we just had Alexa do God knows what with some witchcraft stuff, and we just had the announcement that Lacey Evans is pregnant. I think things are kind of crazy already here as it is."
Are you thinking that Braun is going to face Shane McMahon at WrestleMania? Because I don't know. After seeing him, that was immediately the first thing I thought of was Shane's going to get thrown off something because they're going to need for Braun to do something, and Shane is Shane. So, I can absolutely see that.
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to go out here and say that it's something that I'm completely against, just because I do got to say I pop for all of the crazy stuff that Shane does. So if he wants to come out here and do all of this crazy, stuff, just like Kevin Owens, I'm down for that.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to be anti it if it does happen. And especially like, I feel like right now, I don't think I have any interest in a different direction for Braun Strowman. I don't have a better idea for him as of this moment. So I wouldn't necessarily mind it. That's where I'm headed at here. But let's go ahead and jump into the next match that we have here. And this is for the WWE Championship inside of an elimination chamber. Drew McIntyre versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you straight out. Do you see anybody other than Drew McIntyre winning this match?
It's hard. And if they hadn't have taken the title off of Randy Orton or off of Drew with Randy Orton, it would be a little easier to say, give the win to Sheamus here. That way you could do a rematch at Fastlane that builds towards Mania or something like that. Or you're going to do a 3-match series with him. And I still think that they may do that. I definitely think they're doing 2. I think Sheamus comes out of here, and at Fastlane, he's getting a title shot. He was the one that was screwed out of the singles match anyway. So it's like, when I look at this lineup, it's like, well, Sheamus, he doesn't need it. He's not going to be, I don't think he takes the fall. He's not going to need it. And when you look at the other names, it's like, unless Randy Orton disappears, because if something happens before the match and they have a substitution, maybe it's Braun, gets put in, and then you go, okay, maybe I can see that, and maybe they want to do Braun and Drew at Mania. I don't know if we've seen that. I'd have to go back. He was hurt for so long. I don't know if we've actually seen that or not. And I think he may have been on SmackDown the last time he was around. So it's like, if you're going to do something like that, I could see it. Because Braun beats him. He beats him again at Fastlane, and then Drew's got to overcome the monster. And they love the whole thing. Slay the monster. He's got the sword, stick in the stone that is Braun Strowman. That would be a very Vince way to do things. So if Orton comes out of that match, yeah, I could see that. Otherwise, man, I don't know who it could be. I really don't. Now, yeah, and here's the thing. I don't think Kofi Kingston's going to stay in this match. And
do you think that they'll have something? Because I know some people were thinking that maybe they'll have, Ali come in and essentially tie that into everything, their history. Do you see that happening?
Absolutely, because, way back, I remember when Edge attacked Kofi Kingston before their Elimination Chamber, and that was in 2009 when Edge won the title. He went in and just killed Kofi and Concerto, all that stuff. And then, that was Kofi was done for there. Then he had Kofi replace Mustafa Ali, which led to Kofi Mania, which is obviously stuck in Mustafa Ali's crawl. So, you could easily do this and then have Ali and Kofi, or do something with the New Day. I mean, there's so many things that you could do, I think, and there's so many good matches that you can have. I know we've seen them before, but like a revitalized Ali, I really like this guy. I really do, and I don't look at him as a world champion. But yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that I think you could bank on for, I'm not saying forever, but for a long, long time, because he is such a good promo. He is good in the ring. He does, he checks off so many boxes that, he's one of those guys where you just kind of shrug and it's like, well, hopefully everything works out the best for him. But, him replacing Kofi in this, I just think it's a natural thing.
And you know what? Even though I would like that because it falls in line with story and all of that history, whatever, all of that, right? I would like to see Kofi stay in this match just for the simple fact that, I mean, we know the guy can do some athletic, crazy stuff. And that's one of my favorite things about watching an Elimination Chamber match is, you know, seeing the cool things that people can come up with and ways to utilize the chamber. And I know that Kofi Kingston is one of those guys. And I'm looking at this, and obviously, you know, we have Jeff Hardy, who would be one of those guys too, and AJ Styles as well. But I kind of would like to see Kofi sort of stay in this match. But I did talk to Kofi. We recently chatted just like a day ago, and I asked him about the possibility of there being Kofi Mania too, since some people were wondering. He was a late replacement last time, late replacement this time, but he pretty much said no, like it's not going to happen just because of like so much other stuff, you know, that, you know, really transpired to help Kofi Mania really blossom into this, you know, magnificent thing. But I just really do think that I'm expecting a really good match from this chamber based on the guys that are in this match, but I do not see anybody else winning other than Drew McIntyre.
It's so hard, especially when you're going to have somebody who's going to be challenging Roman in the other one, where you are going to get a winner that you're not sure about. I mean, to me, it's you do the simple thing, you do the safe thing. You don't try to, you know, get too cute with it, because again, does anybody think Jeff Hardy's got a shot in this? No. You want to see him do something kind of crazy. You know, Kofi, same way. Sheamus, you expect to be strong. Orton, I think everybody expects something wacky to happen. Styles is a consummate professional. You know, it's just, you just tell the story. Again, why would you take the title off Drew here again, unless it's something where it's going to be a Braun or somebody like that you are now you have a plan with for the next 8 weeks or so.
Awesome. Now, I do want to let everybody know who's watching on this live stream right now that we are going to go ahead and jump into one more match, and we'll talk about that. But also, I do want to let you guys know that after we're done with our chamber predictions, I have something up my sleeve, a bonus segment that nobody knows about, not even Mike. You don't know about this segment. So after we're done with our chamber predictions, I do have a surprise for everyone here. So make sure to stick around because that will be happening here too. So Mike, get ready for it because it's almost here. But before we get into that, we need to talk about this next match and obviously the match that will come out of it. So we have Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro versus Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin in an Elimination Chamber match for a chance to face Roman Reigns that same night for the Universal title. So who do you think will win this match and end up facing Roman Reigns?
Cesaro.
Ooh.
I'm going with Cesaro. I'm going. He. I don't know if he's going to be a full-scale baby face or if this was just temporary to get him in there and get him aligned with Daniel Bryan. Because look, it's going to be, to me, it's going to be Edge and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think that's the right thing to do.
I think so too.
For me, you know, I would have loved to have seen Daniel Bryan be on a hotter streak and to go into this and to you finally get that Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns thing. And you have the guy to shut up Roman Reigns. And I know he's been doing other things and he's on creative and it doesn't seem to be in the cards, but it's just, that story is just so easy to me. Maybe they want to save it to be in front of people. Like there's all this talk about like, you know, if the next year is in Dallas and I think 2 years is in LA. If you're going to do Roman Reigns and The Rock, that's an LA thing to do. To me, it is.
Oh, yeah.
You can do, Daniel Bryan, as long as he stays in one piece, Roman Reigns, you know, is probably going to be, you know, golden next year no matter what. If you wanted to do that in front of fans, that would be the way I would do it. I would keep Roman strong, keep him with a belt all year, and then have him lose it to Daniel Bryan and build that up. I would love to see that happen, but I'm a geek that way. You know, in reality, Daniel Bryan, to me, doesn't have a shot. Sami Zayn doesn't have a shot. Baron Corbin doesn't have a shot. Kevin Owens is the obvious choice, I think, for most people, but that's why I think they don't think they'd go that way. I think to do Roman Reigns and Cesaro, you get a kick-ass match on, you know, that's going to continue on this pay-per-view. You don't have to worry about Cesaro being winded. You know, he can do 60 minutes in that chamber, walk out, and do another 60 with Roman like it's nothing. So, to me, this is the easy one to do. The dark horse is Jey. The dark horse, to me, is Jey because it's good for storyline purposes if you have something. Other than that, though, to me, I look up and down this thing, and Cesaro just sticks out as the obvious choice.
Right. And also, you mentioned Jay. It's like, okay, they've already been there and done that with him and Roman. There's no need to circle back to it. So you can X them out on that. So no one actually believes Baron Corbin has a shot. Sami Zayn, unfortunately, as much as I'd love to see the match and as much as a fan I am of Sami Zayn, we know that's not going to happen either. Kevin Owens, they've already done it so much. So, you've already made good reasoning as to why it's probably not going to be Daniel Bryan. But out of, just to give a different name, because I do think they are going to go with Cesaro. It just seems like the right call. If it's not Cesaro, the second person that I could see it being would be Daniel Bryan, in my opinion. But again, I do agree with you in the sense that it may just be Cesaro. And I wouldn't necessarily mind it because there is a lot of people that really want to see Cesaro, in this picture, get an opportunity. It's been a long time coming. He is a pretty decent, credible opponent for Roman Reigns. And so I think that they can definitely do something there as well. But let's just say it's not Cesaro, I would go with Daniel Bryan. And if it's not Daniel Bryan, then I would go with Kevin Owens. Even though we've already seen it so many times, I'm still not anti seeing this match again, just because all of their matches have been very different and very entertaining. But then again, it's been done. So you kind of want to space that out just a tad.
Yeah, unless it's going to be just so Roman Reigns can pin Kevin Owens clean. Because that's been the thing, is why would you do this, is because Kevin Owens continues to get screwed over in some sort of way, but at some point you got to put a period at the end of the sentence and close that chapter and move on to the next one. And if they wanted to do that, I okay, cool. And then there's a question about Fastlane or something like that, but I could also easily see him doing, if there was a second choice in having it be Daniel Bryan, I'm sure there are people there that do not have the same type of love for the storyline idea that I had, and they're kind of done with the Daniel Bryan thing, and they go, okay, we'll get one more month out of this. We'll do that match at Fastlane, or we'll do that match here, and then we can maybe do something at Fastlane, but okay, this isn't the story. It's going to be the backdrop to Reigns and whoever he's going to be facing at WrestleMania, where Daniel Bryan's a little bit more of a thorn in his side. And I could see WWE doing that to tease people, getting everybody all worked up, because there's still people who want to see Daniel Bryan, get that Duke over Roman Reigns, and they'll never forget a couple of years ago. So, to me, like you mentioned, though, Cesaro is it just screams to be him for that night.
Agreed. So here we go. Before we get into our last surprise segment, I do want to remind you guys all to not forget to subscribe to my channel here. I just surpassed 35,000 subscribers, so please make sure to join and subscribe and, just be part of the family on here. Also, I do want to remind you guys that later tonight, I will be going live on here to recap SmackDown, and then I'll be back on Sunday to recap Elimination Chamber. Also, keep an eye on my Twitter because I have a little surprise coming on there as well. But Mike, it is now time for my surprise segment. So let me tell you.
Last time I was surprised by somebody on video, MJF, tried to tear into my whole family. So, I'm a little nervous about this now.
No, don't be. I think you'll love it, actually. So, Mike, we kind of bonded. We kind of bonded over the fact that we're similar in our potato chip, chocolate chip and chocolate chip potato chip chocolate bar taste, and it caused somewhat of a controversy that even got me banned. I was banned by Bryan Alvarez for a couple of days until I was back on Wednesday. So this special segment is dedicated to Bryan Alvarez. And what we're going to do is we are going to pick which potato chips, which chocolate bars are better. So here we go, Mike. Let's do this. Chat, get involved in this. Mike,
ready.
Question number 1. Which is better, Doritos Cool Ranch or Doritos Nacho Cheese?
I got to be honest here, because both are fine. Both are fine. I can handle either one of them. I'm actually going to go with Cool Ranch here.
Ooh.
I'm actually going to go with Cool Ranch here because, to me, I can OD more on the Cool Ranch than I can on the regular ones. The regular ones, after a while, you just, I don't know, you get that corn thing going. It's just like you feel it come out of your pores. You're stinking like corn. And it's just, I don't know. It's something about them, the dust. Maybe it's an aesthetic thing. Maybe it's just I don't know what. But, to me, you can tear into the Cool Ranch more. And I like Cheez-Its. That's a big one for me. So it's like Doritos, Cheez-Its, Cheetos, Cheez-Its. To me, the cheese is always going to be for Cheez-Its. So I'm going to go with Cool Ranch Doritos.
I gotta go the other way. I'm going with nacho cheese Doritos. Those are supreme. But here we go. Question number 2. Which is better? Is it Funyuns or Cheeto Puffs? Which one is for you?
Man, see, I'm not, and that's a tough one. I think, see, now if it was regular Cheetos, I'd go with regular Cheetos. But it's the puffs. I'm not big on the air stuff. I'm not big on the cheese balls and whatnot. You know, I just, it's something about I don't know what it is, the air stuff. I tried the Ritz ones. I've tried the Cheez-It ones. I never liked Bugles. You know, I just think it's something about that puff crunch thing, and you bite into it, the puff, you know you're getting that flavor puff in your mouth. I don't know. To me, I'm going to go with Funyuns on that one. I know they're a little bit puffy as well, too, to make your breath stink, just smell like feet, you know. But it makes it, sometimes I can't afford to go to Outback for the Bloomin' Onion. So sometimes, you know, when you're broke like that, like Mitch Hedberg said, throw some Funyuns on the grill and there you go.
Oh man, we're total opposite on this. I'm going with the puffs, man. There is nothing better than that cheesy taste. I gotta go with the Cheeto Puffs. But we're opposite so far. Wow.
I can't believe that. That's actually shocking.
Yeah, I thought
especially you with the Cool Ranch. I figured that would be right up your alley with the ranch stuff.
Right? You would think so, but no. Here we go. Question number 3. Which is better? Is it Takis or is it the Hot Cheetos fries, Chester's fries? Which is it, Mike?
See, I'm so old. I remember the Andy Caps. They still got the Andy Cap fries out there. Usually those are like the dollar store ones. So those Chester stole those. Damn you, Frito company. But I got to go with Takis on that one. You got to go with the Fuego Takis. You know, they're painful. They hurt. You get the lime thing. It's like you're sweating. You feel bad afterwards. My whole gets to be a little, you know, hurts when them Takis be coming back out there. But if you have them in moderation, I got to be. And my son did this to me too because I was a big hot fry person. But like if I had to have one or the other, I think I've finally officially moved over to Takis.
I can't. I have to defend the Cheeto fries. They are number one. They make my stomach hurt all the time, but it's worth it. It's worth it, Mike. They're so good.
See,
I love those.
I always like that. I always like the hot ones. The handicap ones, I always remember those, and that's why I like them. And I tried the Chester, and they're fine. It's better quality, in fact, because Cheetos is doing it. But it's something about those Takis, and it's one of those things too where it's like it's a bad idea, especially when it's like you got a Red Bull or something. Like
that's the thing.
You should have like gallons of water around you, and like somebody like feeding you. Like, you sure you want one more? We got to check you on this. Let me check your digestive tract because it's going to burn it all away. But it's just, I know if you don't OD on them, I'm going with Takis.
See, that's the thing. I can't eat, like, after 5 Takis, I can't do any more. But the Cheeto fries, I can do the entire bag. And that's the issue. I can't, I could do the whole thing. But so we're just not on the same page here. Like, wow. Here we go. Next one, final on the potato chips. And then we're going to move into the chocolate bars. But here we go. Which is better? Is it the Cheetos Flaming Hots or is it the Fritos Flaming Hot? Either way, they're hot. But which one's hotter?
Fritos Flamin' Hot. And I've had the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and I can already tell by your face we're going to disagree on this one again. And here's why. But here's why, though, is because, like, it's one of those corn snacks that, again, boy, you eat, it's a bag of Fritos and you go run around outside for a little bit, and it's like you're playing basketball, and it's like you can feel, and smell those Fritos coming back out. But that's why, as a special occasion, it's good to have the Fritos. You make the chili. You throw the barbecue Fritos on top, or the extra hot, you throw those on top. I'm actually going to go with Fritos here, but there's no wrong answer here because the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, again, they're Flamin' Hot Cheetos. It's like I was saying before. You can keep the puffs, but it's like there is a good heat to crunch to flavor ratio in the Cheeto, whereas Taki is like, it's going to smack you upside the head. At least, with the Cheetos, you're getting a little bit of flavor there, and it's going to creep up on you. If you got a little cut, it's like getting, lemon in it or something like that. It's going to burn you if you got a little, like, crack on the side of you. So if you have chapped lips, put some Burt's Bees on it or something first before you have them because it's going to expose everything.
All right. So I will say this. There are times.
These are words from a fat man. Believe this, by the way.
There are times where I have chosen Flamin' Hot Fritos over those Hot Cheetos. But I feel like Hot Cheetos, I can't go against them. They have made me very, very happy very many times. So I have to stay loyal to them, you know? So I'm going to go with the Hot Cheetos here. This is very controversial.
I'm shocked by this.
Here we go. Let's move on to the chocolate bars. We are done with the potato chips. So we did not agree on the potato chips.
The serendipity, I can feel it. It's all going to be coming back. Everything is going to be worked out. It's going to be all perfect now here. I know chocolate, we're going to be on the same page.
This was supposed to be a rib on Bryan, and now it ended up backfiring.
Really, when it comes to Bryan, whatever we say, it's going to be, I mean, he is the most, there's all these things that I would say, but all of your followers, I don't want you to lose any or have anything controversial about it. Let's just say Bryan's got vanilla taste. Look how quick I like plain Lay's potato chips. I bet you do, you big vanilla something. Yes.
Here we go. Chocolate bars. Which is better, Snickers or Kit Kat?
I mean, hold on here.
Ooh, what's going to happen?
Do I have some?
I'm very excited.
Somebody steal it.
In the meantime, I'll read this super chat from Evan Wright, who says, please do a segment like this once a month. I am very happy you are enjoying this segment. It makes me very happy. Thank you, Evan.
There it is. There it is. You always got to have one on standby. You always got to have some, especially when you got a family. Like, you don't have to have like the whole lockdown or anything, but there are some things that you need to hide away because they're going to go away. Snickers is the way to go. I understand people like Kit Kats and wafers and all that sort of thing, but when I'm in the mood for chocolate, no, I got to go full out. Kit Kat's nice to get in the basket. You don't throw it away at Halloween or anything like that. Like Good and Plenty's, you may have dental problems. Kit Kats, you're going to keep those, but are you really happy about them? No, you got to be happier with Snickers, don't you?
I 100% agree with you, Mike. Team
Finally,
because I am known to hate Kit Kat. I think Kit Kat sucks. So here's the controversy. This is the hot take. I hate Kit Kats. They're awful. And I'm all about Team Snickers here.
Damn right. Waste the chocolate there when it comes to Kit Kat. If you like your wafers, that's fine. But like, go to the dollar store, get the rainbow pack of the vanilla strawberry, and those are better. I mean, you dip them in your own chocolate. Just no Kit Kat. Plus, they steal chocolate from you with the imprint. I forget who made that joke, but it's true. I don't want to steal any chocolate from me. I know what I'm buying. You didn't have to put Kit Kat on. I'm about to eat it. Stop that.
Here we go. Next one. Which is better? Twix or Three Musketeers?
That's a toughie.
Ooh, it's a toughie. Yeah. Which one is it for you, Mike?
Because I love Three Musketeers bars. They're light, they're fluffy, they're nice. They make you not feel as bad as like when you rip into like the big Reese's. What's the one, the Nutrageous or whatever? It's like, man, you're eating something. Snickers, it's like you're eating a whole meal in one of those things. With Three Musketeers, you can feel a little bit better about it. But I love caramel. Oh man, and I love Twix. It's one of those things. This is a coin flip for me. Ooh, I guess if I had to have one.
Sophie's choice right here.
Now, I've already got a Snickers, though, so I am getting some caramel, and I never know. There could be Milky Way on this somewhere. So, because I'm already getting a little bit of caramel in with the Snickers, I'm going to forego the Twix, even though they're great, and I'm going with Three Musketeers.
Okay, so before I give my answer, Eddie K says, this is literally so amazing. Thank you so much, Eddie. I really appreciate that. And you know what, Mike? We might not agree on potato chips, but we are damn on the same page here with chocolate bars because I got to go with Three Musketeers too. Twix sometimes surprises me and I take a bite and I'm like, oh, it's not that good today. It depends on the package. I never feel that way with Musketeers. I bite and I'm like, ooh, yeah, like that's perfect for me.
Notice that, like, too, sometimes you rip open, like Reese's and Twix are bad with this, where you open it up and it's like you see that white film off. And it's like, man, that thing's been there for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see, to me, I never see that with Three Musketeers, which means it's always in good rotation. So that should tell you something right there, too. So, yes, Three Musketeers.
I agree. Last one, everybody. Which is better? Is it Hershey's milk chocolate or Reese's Pieces Buttercups? Which is the best?
See, Hershey's is, I like to cook too because I'm big like that. So you bake, you get the big Hershey bar, you get the Ghirardelli's bars. I mean, those Hershey milk chocolate bars, they are good. But they usually also cost just about as much as any of these other candy bars. And the classics are nice and everything, a black jelly bean once in a while, a cup of hot chocolate, a Hershey's bar. Oh, it's like a Hershey's Kiss. Great. Come on. Reese's peanut butter cups. If they're fresh, even if they're not fresh and they got that little bit of white film on it, there's nothing like that, especially when you get the big one. I don't know if they make them all year round now, but like when you get that big fat Easter one or the big heavy ass one. I don't know if you've ever been to like Hershey Park too. If anybody's ever had a chance to do that, I remember they had this big confection thing, and it was they had these big. I think they're the ones who make Reese's cups. If not, they had some of these cool ass, big ass Reese's cups that were incredible, and they were fresh and they were awesome. So I got to go with Reese's cups on this one. You get your peanut butter in there. It's those two things that go perfectly with each other. And to me, it's, if grandma's coming over, okay, we'll have the Hershey's bars out. That's nice. Maybe Hershey's with almonds. Aw, that's good. But come on, if you're really in the mood, you're really trying to munch on something, to me, you got to go with the Reese's cups.
All right. Look, I didn't know my answer heading into this one, but the way you described those Reese's Pieces Buttercups, it reminded me of my good memories with them. And this is the thing. I love frozen Reese's Pieces Buttercups, like putting them in the refrigerator, getting them really cold. So when I bite it, the edge, the part without the peanut butter is really, really like hard and crunch, like not crunchy, but I like how it feels. So I'm going to go with the Reese's Pieces Buttercups as well, because you convinced me. Although if it was Hershey's with almonds, I'm not too sure what my option would have been here.
That's fair. That's fair, because the Hershey's with almonds, you get a little bit more with it, and at least you got the peanut balance there. But yeah, I didn't mean to take you away from Hershey's there. It's just, I don't know, those peanut butter cups. Again, these are just two things that are perfect together. Although I'm an apologist for peanut butter. So what can I say?
By the way, we blew up the chat here with all of these like chocolate, potato chips conversations. I made a couple of people mad. You made a couple of people mad. We made some people mad here, but that's what it is here.
Exactly. Good. Get fired up. It's the weekend. You should be fired up, damn it.
Exactly. All right, team. That is pretty much our stream. Mike, I want to thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to come and do this show. It's very, very fun to have you on here. And I want to thank everybody who tuned in to watch. And I really hope you guys had a good time with both the chamber predictions and also this fun food segment. But Mike, before we go, tell the people where they can follow you, and please feel free to plug in anything you'd like to plug in.
I really appreciate you having me on here. I love doing this sort of thing. Obviously, I love talking about wrestling. I love talking about wrestling on the radio. I'm not afraid of a camera. I think everybody knows that by now. The Wrestling Observer Live has taken on it's got a far more interesting fan base now that we went to Twitch, and I think it's been great for the show. And you can watch the show. It's a lot better if you're a subscriber to Twitch through the F4W video site, because you don't have any of the ads or anything like that, and you do get some bonus content and things, including your quizzes and things like that I don't believe that they would get if they were not otherwise a member. But you can always check it out every single day. Noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We are on every single day, Monday through Friday. Those are the times. Saturday, they have a replay right now until Jim Valley. Best of Jim Valley. When he comes back, he'll be taking over that position again. That will be 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then we are live again Sundays at 6 p.m. We will be live with everything. Any last minute news when it comes to the Elimination Chamber, Bryan and I will have that for you. You can find that at Sports Byline US or sportsbyline.com, I believe it is. It's Sports Byline USA. TuneIn radio apps, probably the easiest way to get it. We're on Sirius XM on several different channels on the weekend. There's about a zillion ways to listen to that program, but just go to WrestlingObserver.com for more information on that. There's the Adam and Mike Big Audio Nightmare, which I've been doing since, whatever it is, 2006, I think, is when January is when we joined up with Bryan's site. But Adam Summers and I do that. The focus is on Japanese professional wrestling, New Japan mostly, although Adam watches everything from everywhere. Unfortunately, my time is really limited right now, so I kind of stick with New Japan. He is very well in tune to everywhere. If you have ever seen a Japanese wrestling podcast out there, they are our sons. We're grandsons at this point. We've been doing this for that long. The old PPH radio show we did with Dr. Keith Lipinski way back in the day. We have been following this stuff for a long time, and I think you put us up against anybody. How we describe the product, how we look at the product, we're very proud of the work that we've done. And we're very proud on having an ear to that street over there. And we've worked very hard to develop it. So I will put our show up against anybody's as far as analysis from a fan's point of view, from an outside point of view on what takes place over there. And you can also catch my labor of love at Mid-Atlantic Pod. If you love pro wrestling, at Mid-Atlantic Pod on Twitter is a great timeline for you to check out. There are a lot of clips that I'll put up from the history of Jim Crockett Promotions, especially throughout the 80s, where it was incredibly strong with Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, the Rock and Roll Express, the Four Horsemen, all that sort of stuff. Really great stuff that holds up in any era. A lot of really fun stuff. And I love doing that site because it takes me back to when I was a kid. And it's a great way to cleanse when you watch too much magic. And you can find that podcast over at midatlanticpod.com.
Amazing. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Wrestling Observer Live. I tune in I used to listen on the audio version, and then I started listening on Twitch recently, and it's two different experiences, but it is very fun though. Yeah, it's one of my favorite
I forget them on the radio. It's amazing. I grew up, I love radio, and I forget them on the radio sometimes because I've haven't done a lot of TV and film or any of that sort of stuff, but I've been in front of the camera before, so the pivot to video didn't bother me at all. It was great to show off nonsense like this and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes I forget when I'm like doing a mean mug at Bryan, or like we've just gotten under each other's nerves and it's like staring at each other like this, or whatever. It's like, there's like, thousands and thousands and thousands of people listening to this radio show live or the podcast or the replays who are just like, what are these idiots doing? Like, why is there dead air? So sometimes we have to kind of keep it on track there, but that's what Bryan's doing.
Yeah, you missed out some of the gems though. Like, I feel like the audio version, like you missed out some of the gems. Like when I tuned in on Twitch and I saw Bryan's furry vest, I was like, what on earth? I would have never known about it if I was just listening to it on audio. But yeah, it's little things like that.
We have a lot more sight gags than I think people realize sometimes that they don't catch. And like, although, really with sometimes the sight gag is just, Bryan's hair and that beard he's trying to grow and the gray that he's been trying to avoid for so long. He bashes me. At least I wear I know what I am at this point in my life. I'm not trying to fake it. And I also can't fit into my wife's clothes.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Guys, so yes, please. Folks. Yeah, I heard. I was on that stream when you said it. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. All right. I creep in and I'm like in there, like listening and all of this stuff. But yeah, anyways, Mike, thank you so much. Guys, do not forget to come back onto the channel and check out my Elimination Chamber post show on Sunday. I already said that, but I'll say it once again. And then make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, follow myself and Sempervive on Twitter, Instagram, all of those places, Twitch, everything. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Salute.